there, kiddos. Jayar Jackson, Rick Strom. Now we move forward with Kawhi Leonard. First off, in the grand scheme of things, do you remember a star player he believes being misdiagnosed? The team, it seems like publicly, not even privately, treating him unfairly and him potentially turning down so much money. Like, this is $219 million in the Supermax that he would turn down in order to go to a team that's in another market where he can make far less money.
How much is far less? What's the max he can make somewhere else?
170? 179?
Depends on the number of years you over that contract.
So it's different how you weigh all of that. It's sort of like, you know, with Little League and the Little League World Series when you're like, oh, that's a 77-mile-per-hour fastball. But then if we translate it into Major League Baseball 2018, that's like 102 or 99. Like, if that were to be translated to the 80s or the 90s, early thousands, obviously the money would be different. But can you remember a standstill like this ever?
No.
I can't either.
No. But also because, of course, in the past, as you're talking about old school ways of doing things, free agency wasn't the same as it is now. You know, and you know, I think honestly not the ability, but more of like the desire to pull off big trades didn't happen like they do now. You know,
not really.
The fact that LeBron has been on like 3 different teams, then back to the other one again.
Well, the Gail Goodrich trade was like huge, but even that was ahead of its time because they traded a few first-round picks, and that's how the Lakers got Magic Johnson.
Right.
So that was like a career-defining, franchise-moving trade that helped out the Lakers, even though they were on the golden track.
There was never a point in Boston where people were like, okay, we're getting to the playoffs every year, but you know we're not winning like we used to. We're gonna have to break up this Bird.
Right, totally.
This Bird,
and Dennis Johnson, Kevin McHale,
gonna need some new superstars on his team.
Yeah. No. So we're agreeing we haven't seen this before. So here's the latest, according to Tom Osborne of the San Antonio Express News. San Antonio wants to meet with Leonard's team in a bid to mend fences and pave the way for Leonard to come to terms on a 5-year, $219 million Supermax contract that he will be eligible to receive starting July 1. Let's stop for just one moment. Why do teams do this?
What? Put out openly in the news what they want to do?
Hey, we're gonna reach out to Kawhi and hey,
you know why?
Take it in. Remind me. Refresh my memory.
So that everyone else can be there and you can have the it can get adjudicated in the court of public opinion. So
the Spurs.
Yeah.
The franchise.
Yeah. The reason they'll tell everyone this is because then everyone will go, oh, the Spurs they reached out. What is it called? The olive branch.
Right. The olive branch.
They want to mend the fences.
Quick side note: Olive Garden.
Used to be, not anymore.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I'm not a restaurant person.
The finest Italian food from Italy, though.
It's true. But you know, unlimited breadsticks.
The breadsticks are good. Everything else is trash. And that segment was brought to you by Olive Garden. That would suck.
Promo code TYT Sports to get free breadsticks.
Promo code Get Pizza. Okay.
So they want to put out the olive branch. So they look like the good guys. Even if they are, they want to make sure the public knows that. So that if there's anything that falls apart with this, whoever's fault it may be, they're still the good guys.
Right. So they can be like,
yeah,
we tried.
They still have to go forward, even with, say, public opinion and potentially other players that may want to come to San Antonio. They'd be like, oh man, they treated Kawhi like this? Superstar Kawhi Leonard, who's like now the backbone of your team. I don't want to go there and be treated like this.
Good point.
You know?
Yeah.
They want to, no matter what happens, they at least want to be seen as the good guys.
So here's what else Tom Osborne had to say. Still, the Spurs hope to meet with Leonard and his reps soon in a bid to mend fences and pave the way for him to come to terms, blah, blah, blah. If attempts to patch up the relationship fail, the Spurs will be forced to explore trading a player Coach Greg Popovich once labeled the future face of the franchise. So here's what I'm just interpreting from the Spurs. It's like la 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 la, and then la 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 la, and then a little bit of la 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 la, and then la 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 la. So it's like, hey, we're gonna try this and we're gonna try that, and hey, if it doesn't work out, we're just gonna trade him and screw the franchise a little bit because hey, he was in the MVP voting in the top 5 for like 3 years.
Hey, no, the thing is, what else can they do? They will try. That's what you're supposed to try. I'm not sure what will happen in this attempt, but you'll try, and if it doesn't work, maybe you don't like what he wants or maybe what he doesn't want, then you move on. That's what you have to do. But you at least have to say.
But you better get a damn good return.
Yeah, you have to tell everyone that you tried. Because they can't, then it'll be, say something happens.
So that's what this is.
San Antonio's in the garbage for 3 years because they got rid of him. And people will go, Oh, San Antonio gave away Kawhi Leonard. Now he's off winning championships in LA.
So now we're learning the blueprint for how a team does this, right? So first it's step one. You have a problem with your star player? Question mark. Step one, try to see if he'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Step two, if he doesn't, have your players talk smack about him. Which Tony Parker did. My knee was much worse and I came back. Steven
Do you
Jackson
think that was on
alluded to-
them or that the organization told them to do that?
I take Steven Jackson's word because I've worked with him professionally and I've talked to him privately. He is a walking soundbite, but on top of that, speaks the truth. So when he goes on Fox Sports and says this was a Popovich move because Ginobili and Duncan and Parker, they don't have the balls to do this on their own. Popovich told them to do this and they did it. That's why they went to the public and screwed Kawhi Leonard. Sorry, man. Knowing the guy personally, I take his word for it. All right, so a little bit more of the backstory. Kawhi Leonard's uncle, Dennis Robertson, has taken a bigger role in his representation since his agent left and things have fallen apart. Not all his fault, but he's been described as difficult. On top of that, when Pop has derisively discussed Leonard's group, he's referring to Robertson and Kawhi's agent, Mitch Frankel. Clearly, there's a massive disconnect between those guys and the Spurs. On top of that, when the Spurs were in the playoffs, what was Kawhi Leonard doing? He was playing Fortnite. And lastly, San Antonio is currently rejecting trade offers from rival teams, but will explore the trade market if Leonard doesn't intend to sign the Supermax. And then you see the teams right there. We'll get into that a little bit later on. Quick, last 30 seconds. What do you believe is going to happen?
It's not going to work out. That's just my.
You think
guess.
he leaves?
Yeah.
Would you take $220 million to stay in San Antonio for another 5 years?
I don't know. How much money have I already made? I mean, again, I'm speaking from a person that's not a multi-millionaire. So
Let me make this very clear. I will live in South Dakota for $220 million for 5 years.